downtown, if you can't tell. It's Lesley with the TFP with some wonderful folks talking about downtown preservation. There's a lot you may not know, and we're going to tell you. So let's do introductions first and foremost. Anne?
I'm Ann Gray, Executive Director of Cornerstones, who is the only nonprofit historic preservation in town.
There you go. Arch?
Arch Willingham, President of TU Parks Construction, and I've been involved with Minor Water and Cornerstones for 15 years.
Okay. And a newcomer to Chattanooga, kind of.
Kind of, sort of, maybe. My name is Marta Alder. I'm president of St. George Holdings, who happens to own this beautiful hotel here behind us, historic hotel, and I'm working with Ann Gray and River City and Lyndhurst Foundation to make this happen and return it to a beautiful hotel, boutique hotel.
Very cool. So what happened, how this all came about in my mind for the TFP, I heard Wine Over Water was coming up October 1st, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And a lot of people just think that that's drinking wine on the bridge, but it actually has a lot to do with, it does. Some people think that, okay? But that's not what it's about. That's a night of celebrating all the preservation and all the funding that has gone on from so many different organizations to save these endangered buildings. Right now, we're looking at the Market and Main Streets historic districts. So let's talk about what has been done over so many years downtown, and there have been a lot of fundraisers and a lot of different efforts that have made this happen, have saved these places, right?
Probably, but Cornerstones is the only one that does Wine Over Water. It's been our annual fundraiser for 22 years.
Wow.
We as an organization exist because we found a funding stream, which is Wine Over Water. So all the monies we generate, the proceeds from that event get reinvested into downtown. We have reinvested a lot just right here in the Market and Main Street Historic District. We're looking to do the same with the St. George. We have earmarked that as a major property that needs to be preserved and then that needs to be saved. It needs to be adaptively reused. We've talked for years about what that would be. We always end up back with what it was built for, a hotel. You know, it lends itself to that. Boutique hotel, we can put a spin on that, but it is for transient people coming through town. We're in the part of town that historically was hotels. I mean, the Choo Choo, Chattanooga Terminal, right? The Terminal Hotel that is now the Brew House was the hotel. The St. George, originally built as the Glen Hotel, 1924.
Oh, wow.
First fireproof hotel in the city, which means that water lines ran through every room, right? That you could see that. You could see that. So that's one of the reasons and a testament to why it still stands today.
It looks like it has a lot of history. And there's the fire trucks just always downtown speaking about what was going on in the hotel.
Right.
Okay, Marta, what are your ideas for this property? What is your vision? What do you want to tell people watching?
Well, trying to keep with is saving this portion of the St. George. There's going to be a 55-room boutique hotel development. Just in the St. George, there's going to be 16 rooms, and the balance of the rooms are going to wrap around and towards the back to use the rest of the property that was torn down.
What is it, the kind of vision of what you want it to look like, or what kind of feel you want people to experience when it gets up?
Yeah, well, having traveled all over the world and having experience in staying in millions of hotels, the boutique hotel experience has been around for some time, but it's not really been here at this size of a scale in Chattanooga. And so it's going to be more of a hipster type hotel, taking advantage of the old portion in there, but bringing in the modern design and decor, as well as in the back. We're going to have a lot of areas and spaces, open spaces. I believe in open space and let the sun shine in. It's not going to be a traditional looking hotel at all. And it's still in the design. Arch Willingham is my contractor.
Oh.
And we're working together on this. And hopefully we're looking to open sometime in spring of 2018.
You know what's interesting about that is one of the two things about the hotel. One, it was a fireproof hotel, first built in the city. The second was it advertised its views of Lookout Mountain. Yeah, it was built at the turn of the century before the Terminal Hotel here, the Choo Choo. 4 stories, and it had that view of Lookout Mountain. You're still going to kind of capture that with the backside.
The rooms are going to have a lot of windows, and the best part is we're going to have a rooftop bar.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that will be a big time place to come and hang out. And
Historically,
watch the
that's what's
sunset.
always happened at that space. I think that's great.
Yeah, so it'll be a big hangout here in Chattanooga.
Well, that's
for
really
sure.
exciting. And where are you from originally?
Originally from Honduras.
Okay.
And my father is from Chattanooga. And
Oh, wow.
And he's the guy why I'm here. And he passed away a year ago. That's why I came here from Miami, where I lived for 24 years. And I came here to take care of him. But then I brought my mom too. And she's originally from Nicaragua, and he met her there in Nicaragua in his aviation company that he established in Central America, and he fell in love with Latin America, and that was it. So we were coming back and forth to Chattanooga. I've been coming here all my life, but never really lived here until now, and I'm just really excited about all the things that are happening and how Chattanooga is just growing, just incredibly beautiful.
So that's exciting. Newcomers with connections. I hear more and more people now that have some sort of tie to Chattanooga and want to be involved more development-wise or whichever way.
You know, I can talk about preservation, you can talk about construction, you can talk about coming back, but truly there is, you feel it in all these things that we do, that people want to be in Chattanooga. They do see some of the history, they want to put their own spin on some things.
Yeah.
We call that adaptive reuse. We love that. And I just think we all feel that in different ways. You feel it all
And
the
that's
time,
one of the
Marge.
reasons that Cornerstones evolved, is that we didn't want all this to go away. The history of all these different buildings before Martyr was around, and this was the last piece of the puzzle. You come into, this is the southern entrance to Chattanooga, and the terminal's beautiful, and this building is, you can't replicate it. But this is going to be a neat bookend to the city, and we're proud of the fact that Wine Over Water has,
No, it's beautiful.
money from Wine Over Water has done all these individual events. That's why y'all need to go to Wine Over Water.
And you kind of answered it, but we had a question from a viewer, and they wanted to know how you're going to handle the backside of the building that got taken down, and what happens there exactly.
All
What's
that
the next step?
is being designed by my architects in Atlanta, PFVS, and we've incorporated the whole side and the backside to the St. George, so it's all going to be one building. And I'm not quite ready to present the design yet, because it's still drawing, but once I do, it's going to be quite a building, and it's going to be very exciting for Chattanooga.
So we'll have that first. Yeah. Why don't you tell us about some of the other efforts that Cornerstones has been involved in, some of the other buildings downtown, and maybe some cool stories for people that they may not know.
Well, let me just kind of talk about where we are in this
Okay.
National Register district of Market and Main Street. I think that you can't beat the story of what's next door, which is now the Terminal Brewhouse.
Can we see that, Ellis, the terminal?
Yeah, we're right. Give a little
Okay.
sense of place.
That's a turn of the 19th century property, but it was commercial. The owner of that property was a porter at the Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Okay.
Black porter. He saw in the 1930s and 40s that there was no place for blacks traveling through the city to stay. He buys the property and turns it into a black hotel.
Okay, cool.
He opens a soul food restaurant on the bottom floor, which is called Chester's. Chester's existed to the 1990s. Do you remember Chester's? And then he passed away. It was in family ownership, none of third and fourth generation. Nobody lived here. Everyone thought it was their opportunity to really make some money. And they just couldn't come to grips with what to do with it. In the meantime, we lost the roof and all the floors. It fell in on itself. And the building was the only thing standing were the walls.
Oh, wow.
Cornerstones got involved with that, with Lyndhurst and with River City Company, because they had more money behind them. We have knowledge, they have more money, and helped turn that around and turn it into the Terminal Brewhouse that it is today. It was a really good story. We don't have that much black ownership in town, and that was a real important legacy story, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. And how long has the terminal, as it is now, been here? You guys know? I would say like 8 years, maybe?
It's under 10 years.
Under 10 years,
So
yeah.
I would say 6 to 8 years.
Okay, and then what we have going on here with the Choo Choo, a lot of developments have been made around this area. You know, the hotel itself, Stir. We have this whole entertainment district. What do you want to tell people about that?
Well, what I love about it is still in the National Register Historic District. We all probably see that as new, exciting, new spaces, but please bear with me and go down the journey that we're going. We're occupying historic structures. When we don't have them, we build something new, like we've just done up the block, and that all adds to the streetscape, the historic nature, the scale and proportion of what is Chattanooga, right? It's 3-4 stories. That's what's kind of always been around here, and that's what feels right too. So we actually support new construction, but we like to say the old. It's the juxtaposition of both of those that really make for a vibrant city. We love that.
Definitely. And tell me about the new that you've built. You mentioned down the street. Tell me what that is.
I actually am not sure. Archer, is that residential? I
So-
think on the top.
These two buildings
Mixed
right
use?
here are being done by Eric Cummings, and that's mixed use. That's condos.
Condos.
Um,
So a lot happening downtown. I mean, it seems like it's picked up, to me at least, more and more over the last 2 years, I would say, development-wise.
Well, it has, and it's really moving towards more downtown living. We've talked about that for years, but now that part is happening. There really are apartments, condos, different levels of housing, which is great. We've always needed all these different levels, and that's what's really that new mix, and that's what you're feeling. And commercial follows that. It's not commercial leading, which is what we tried to do for years. Now residential is leading, commercial is following. Yeah, there's a big change in activity, and it's all good.
And you mentioned Cornerstones has been a part of this for, did you say nearly 30 years?
Yes, we've been around since 1994.
Okay, 1994. I do remember that year. I wasn't here, but I've seen so many pictures from the past, and it looks just so different than back before all this was developed. It's amazing.
Can we talk about wine
Yeah.
over water and wine for a minute?
Yes. Okay, back
I'm
to that.
ready.
So all the sponsors and the attendees and all of that, all of those funds you're telling me goes toward these efforts, right?
right.
Okay.
Right.
So let's
And what's
talk.
interesting, Cornerstones, how does a small nonprofit who only has one employee
Wow.
that bases itself on
Wow.
volunteer help, how do
Yeah.
they really survive? How do they really communicate information like this and try to make that happen? We don't have deep pockets. We're not one of the local foundations. So how do we make that happen? We found our own fundraiser, and it's been highly successful. And the reason I think it's successful is because we do it on a historic bridge that's on the National Register. People can go anywhere in any city and do wine tastings, and they generally go to a convention center.
Right.
I think we're one of the few, although we've been replicated now, folks. There's a lot of them out there, but on the Walnut Street Bridge is location, right, Marta?
It's the best.
When you came to town, I mean,
love
everyone falls in love with the location.
Yeah.
Logistically, very challenging, but we're committed to doing that. Arch has been working with me for 15 years.
So
And
you're
it's
involved in every aspect
so much fun,
of it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. The building.
Having it, drinking it,
Okay.
Yeah.
spending it.
Hey.
Yeah,
You name
still
it.
talking
And the
about
money's
it.
going towards restoration.
And what we love about that is, it's a very subtle message of Cornerstones and what that cause is behind that event. But everyone loves the event. We just let them love the event, and we let them we just take that as the celebration of what we do, what we reinvest. But and it is a great time, isn't it?
It's fantastic. And one of the neat things that we try to do during the festival is every tent has got information and a history about one of the buildings that we've helped save. So y'all need to come.
And take a look when you're waiting. Like, read about the preservation. Because honestly, a lot of, I'm not going to say all young people, but I've heard young people not know what Wine Over Water was about or what the funding went toward. So I hope we've given you some insight there. Marta, what are you
Yes.
excited about? What's the next step? Can you share something with us? I know you're working with these two. It's kind of under wraps still.
Well, yeah, it's really, the drawings are almost finished, just about. I've given them partially to Art to bid it.
Right.
And
The money part of it all,
The money
right?
part of it all. I'm
Fun
still
part.
getting the,
Right.
getting the equity.
The
money
easy part of it all, right?
Yeah.
Is all, yeah.
It's
So
glamorous.
it's still a process. The drawings are coming out, but at least eventually I can get some drawings out when they're ready to be out, and I'll be more than happy to show.
Right.
But that's just the process. It takes forever. I thought it was going to be a year, but it
Oh, I know.
so long.
Well, there's so much detail. If we can kind of zoom in, it's so, you're wanting to keep a lot of the detail still, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have these windows obviously have to come out because it has to be more contemporary with the windows. There's gonna be red awnings, all on above all the windows. They're going to be instead of windows, they're going to be all the way to the ground, to the floor. So there'll be doors with a Juliet balconies on
pretty.
each one, and the same awning, a red awning all along in the front. I have a picture of that I can give you.
Okay, great,
That I
yeah.
have given Anne.
That'd be great.
And you can use that as a picture for reference. I can't divulge the rest. It's still a surprise. It's still under the drawing.
You're good at that.
But,
yeah.
but
The
one of
graffiti
our
will be
chairs is
gone.
going to do a great job.
The graffiti bites the dust.
Breaking news.
Right.
But one of the best features is, the lion heads, which
Yes,
served a
they're
purpose.
beautiful.
They held chains that had the cantilever cover over the front door.
Oh, wow.
I love that they're
That's gonna
still
be like a
there.
little social area for the guests on the second floor with a little cute, little cozy, little hangout
it's a great-
area.
A place to drink.
On top.
great-
That's the most important.
Very romantic.
Wine
Very.
over Market Street.
The whole hotel is going to be romantic,
romantic.
for sure.
That's
all
what
I
I
will
see.
say.
You see a party, I see romance. So
Oh,
everybody
romance.
will see something else.
Wait and see,
Men and
wait
women,
see.
right?
I have big
Yeah.
plans. I'm excited.
I believe.
But we appreciate everybody's support. Marta does too, because all this kind of just comes right around as a community. We're there supporting each other to
Yeah.
do the thing that needs to be done, and that's really what Wine Over Water's
That
about.
makes Chattanooga great.
Know that it's still a destination crowd. I have a huge crowd.
Oh, really?
Most of my
Okay.
tickets are already sold
That's
online. So know that if you're interested, you need to go ahead and purchase that ticket.
So do you have loyal people who come here from all over the place?
Yes.
You're saying?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where do they come from? Everywhere?
Most of them southeast, but I have a lot that come from across the United States. We actually have an international crowd as well. You've got to know that that's usually a connection, like reunion, coming back to Chattanooga, and they do that as an annual trip and work this in. So we know exactly where they're coming from. We sell the tickets, the majority online. We do have some tickets out at some restaurants. You can find that on my website. But,
Okay.
but for a hard ticket, but a downloadable ticket makes it easy access for everyone. And we
Is there a
usually
cap?
sell out.
Yeah. Is there a
Yeah,
cap
yeah,
of
there
how
is.
many?
There is. How many tickets? We
Yeah.
sell around 3,000, and we've got
Wow.
about 1,000 left. We're just 2 weeks out, and this is when they really move. So
What's the goal this year?
the goal in
The
ticket
financial
sales?
goal.
Oh, well, it's just sort of a general.
150,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Around.
That's what we like to bank.
So we're gonna say 200.
Exactly.
Fundraising is hard work. So you've been
Yeah.
the sole fundraiser for Cornerstone's employee.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
But there's a lot of good community support. for
Yes,
that,
yes.
We do
the
feel
volunteers
the love.
make
we
it
feel the love.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to your point about people coming to this event, I take IDs. It's one of the things I do today at the event.
Oh,
And I want to say, as
Jack
time
of all
has gone
trades.
by,
yeah.
probably a third of the IDs that I take are not Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama.
Oh,
Yeah. we
And
know-
that
we know.
years ago, you rarely saw any, and now it's a lot of them.
okay.
Welcome,
That's
Chattanooga.
good to know.
He's a great greeter to our event.
I believe it. I believe it. Do you have a question?
Yeah, what are some of the other buildings that you guys are interested in, protecting, taking care of?
Preserving.
Yeah, this
we
is
have a whole list of those. We call it our endangered properties list. Those are the ones, so we're going after the ones that are derelict, abandoned, that need help, right?
Yeah.
We're not a development company. We're not really looking to that, but we're looking to save the ones that need somebody to step in. Mayfield Annex is one that Arch is working on now that's going through a total renovation.
Do you want to describe where that is so people know? And
Mayfield Annex.
Yeah.
How would you
Walnut
describe
and
that?
7th.
Cherry and Seventh.
Walnut and 7th.
Walnut and
You're
7th.
facing the courthouse.
You're facing the
To the
courthouse.
left and drop back one. It was the old, what was the name of that thing?
It was an Elks Lodge.
Elks Lodge.
Maternal Lodge.
And it
Okay.
is really cool if you get a chance to tour it. Call me, I'll take you through it. You can go in and you can see the original structure that was there, the original plaster, and it's all there and it's going to be retained. It's really cool.
Very cool. Any other projects you want to mention? People are so interested in what's
Well,
going on.
one of the things we're doing, we can do some planning tools as well. We're looking at the heart of the city, as I call that, is seeing the potential for that being a National Register district as well. The importance of that designation is it gets MARTA as a property owner to be able to access some historic tax credits. It can make the difference of a project moving forward financially. And then it's recognized historically as being significant. So we're looking to do the same thing in what is downtown. Now we have a lot of properties individually listed, but looking to cast a net that's a little wider. It's the in-between properties that I have fallen in love with over the years as a preservationist that by themselves aren't historic, but they contribute everything to what's happening around it, scale, proportion, history. architectural features. So that's kind of one of the projects that we're looking at. But we just continue to kind of plug away at all of our little
Busy.
projects. St. George is one that we're continuing to plug away and see if we can make
There's
that
finally
happen.
a light at the end of the tunnel.
Great.
After a long
So the
time.
name, where is that from? Was that
Well, I'm not really sure where St. George came from. The original
Okay.
name was the Glen Hotel,
okay? Yeah.
1924. I'm not really sure when it changed to St. George,
Maybe
and I really
in the
lost the
30s
thread.
or 40s, no?
Probably in the 30s.
That would be
'Cause I know my
interesting to
father
find
was
out.
going to school in college, and he knew it as the St. George, and this was in the 40s.
Okay. How about the building by St. John's? All of that, was that also restored?
Yes, well, that was another Cornerstone's property. That's
Great.
right. That's right.
It's beautiful
Actually, that
there,
was one
too.
we actually had hands-on with. The city was going to condemn it. I think they had. They were ready to demolish it. And my little board and its people went to them and said, give us the demolition money and we'll
Oh.
save it instead of spending it for demolition. So they did.
It's a gorgeous
We saved
building.
it. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Thomas Johnson's help, of course. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions? We have a Facebook follower, subscriber, I hope, here. Do you have any questions? Wayne, no questions. Ellis, any more questions?
What about are there other well-known buildings that you can point to and say, you know, that's a wonderful success down at St. John's? But I mean, are there other buildings that?
Hamburger place.
Yeah, Urban Stack.
Urban
is
Stack.
Urban
probably
Stack.
Urban
the
Stack.
oldest-
Everybody knows Urban Stack.
Yeah, it's probably the oldest standing building in Chattanooga. Still standing. It was probably 1869, 1870. Can't quite find that date because it was a secondary building. It was built literally to handle the baggage of people traveling on the train. And you know how close the tracks are, right? And the passenger depot stood on the corner in front of it, there at the 13th and Market. When it overgrew that space, that's when the Choo Choo was built here. And, you know, Southern Railway builds its own office building in 1922. The passenger baggage buildings remains, and it became an engineering of the city, or
Very
excuse me, of the
cool.
railroad. And so nothing ever happened to that property. You've got to know that stayed intact. When you go in there now, that's pretty much what it always was. You know, so you're seeing the walls. There just really wasn't. You love those. Those are really stopped in time when you actually get a chance to go in those. And no one's really tried to update or do anything to it. So that was a wonderful space. That was a property given to us by the city to Cornerstones, and that we did an RFP and turned that around, so we wanted someone to use the space. Easy answer would have been Cornerstone's office. Not the best use of the property. It needed to be put back into public use, and that's what we did with that property.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If people want to find out more information on what we've been talking about and October 1st Wine Over Water, where do they go?
They can go to our website, which is cornerstonesinc.org. Cornerstones is plural, inc.org, or just go to wineoverwater.org. Both of those are connected. You'll see where you can purchase tickets, all information about the event, as well as information about what we do. St.
And
George
if
is
you
on there.
forget the ink and all that kind of stuff, if you'll just put wine over water in Google, it'll take you right there. Same thing with Cornerstone.
Okay, and remember, if you do go to that, there's going to be information about all of the buildings while you're there. And you guys are doing some things a little bit different, incorporating some more businesses. I think I heard this year, like chefs, local chefs.
Wine over water this year, you know, traditionally it has been wine. And we've had multiple restaurants. This year we're focusing on four
local chefs.
Local chefs, right.
What about their names?
Yeah.
Eric Neal, right?
Buck Oglesby from Back End Cafe, Eric Neal from Easy Bistro, Charlie Loomis from Feed, and Eric Peppert from Aaliyah.
Oh man,
they're going to do
that's a
food
don't miss
demonstrations.
lineup right
Yes.
there.
That's a
Seriously, those are some of my favorite restaurants.
Yeah.
We can surely cover it.
And so this year, you know, and they're going to give away their food. So food is part of the ticket. As far as that food will go, we're trying to evolve the event, shift it to a food and wine event, get a balance between wine and food. It's that appreciation of wine that kind of elevates, right? So we know that we may make some mistakes, but know that this is our first year out to see how we can make that happen.
Oh, that's
Again,
great. Awesome.
logistically challenging on the bridge and for those chefs.
Yes.
We appreciate them participating.
Are there other ways
Definitely.
for people to get involved to help out? Maybe they can't make it to the event, or maybe they want to go to the event and do a little bit more. What other ways?
They can
people,
write a check.
Yeah, if they want to, if they want to help
Arch
preserve.
Willingham.
Yeah.
If they want to preserve
Otherwise-
cool old buildings, what's the best? What
Well,
are some of the steps they
because
can do?
we don't own any of the buildings, and we just know that we're not the best owners for those kind of. We want other people to own those properties, and we can help them. So I don't have total access to all of those properties, but if we get a crowd together that's interested a little bit, we can maybe do a tour, a special behind-the-scenes tour of some of these properties. We do need to watch because all the ones we're watching are there's liability issues that we're very aware of
And if people just want to donate to Cornerstones and be
on
part
the
of it,
website.
they can donate.
On the website,
Right.
right.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other things to say?
I'm good.
We're good. Well,
you.
I hope we've shared a lot with you. You guys have been really enjoying our development coverage, so we're going to continue to keep doing that. And we visited last week Sculpture Fields, which was amazing too.
Right.
So many lights and windows into what's going on in Chattanooga. So thanks for watching. And what were you going to say about that? You were there at Sculpture Fields. You enjoyed that
was
too?
Amazing. I was so impressed, and the whole party and the whole train experience and the whole idea for Sculpture Fields in Chattanooga. It's a very sophisticated idea, and in an area that is just going to grow more with about 16 more sculptures coming.
Right.
That
And
was
it's
amazing.
It's much like this. Sometimes people honestly don't know where these buildings are, and that's why we're asking you for the background information, because we get questions like that all the time. So continue that, and we'll answer them, because you can visit all these spots yourself.
And
So
there's a neat thing on their website, Cornerstones. I saw it this morning. You go in there, there's got a little map that they'll drop down, and it shows all the properties we've
Oh,
saved
that's
and
really
the
good.
significant properties and the history behind each.
great. That's amazing. Okay, thank you so much. I know
Thank you.
you're very busy. Yes.
That's what we do.
Putting
Yeah.
an event together.
So we appreciate your time, and
Thank you, Liz.
thank you. Thanks,
Peace out.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
And on a shot of the building.
Bye.